everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Tony with you once again for the Wigan Cult Film Club. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing okay. What I realised was that for nearly, 16 months that this club's been running, I've never actually done a video about the events of the club. I don't know why. But I thought I'd rectify that, and starting off the new year, starting off the January event, I thought every month now, when we do a screening, I'll do a little retrospective about it afterwards. Just tell you a little bit what went on and the films that we showed and why we showed those films and things like that. So these are all going to be short and brief, but it sort of keeps you guys in the loop with what we do at the club and how we go about it and stuff like that. So for this month, we came up with the theme of MECHUARY, thanks to Mr. David Kennedy. This was his choice, because there was a film in particular that he really wanted to show, and that film was, hold on a second, that film was Real Steel. Great little film, but we'll get on with that one in a minute. And obviously we do a pairing, so we always do two films, and we thought we'd go a bit daft with it. And we'd go down the line of showing Robot Jox. I don't think a lot of people have even heard of this one, never mind seen it, and it is a good little film. It's a nice little romp through. So they were the two that were chosen for this month: Real Steel and Robot Jox. Dave did a lovely poster, which obviously gets distributed around the town and things like that. I'll drop the poster in here and you'll be able to see it. And yeah, I mean, for the first one of the year, for January, and the two films that we showed, we got a few people in. You know what I mean? We have had busier evenings. But people are busy. It's a crap time of year, January. It's hard to drag yourself out on a Thursday night in January. Weather was a bit cack as well. So yeah, I think with about 14 people in, I think. It was nice to see a couple of new faces as well. So hello if you're checking us out for the first time. It's always nice to see new faces. I never want it just to be the same people constantly, month in, month out, and it fluctuates. Some months it's just the same people on the bounce, and somebody will obviously see the promotion that we're doing for it and think, oh, I like that film, we'll go and watch that, and then hopefully they sort of like hang around and stay around a little bit and come back to other events that we do. But no, January's the previous one we've done in January was quite quiet as well, the Schwarzenegger night last year. So I wasn't expecting massive things. It was good because for this one, we hadn't had a screening since November. I decided not to do a December screening because there was just too much going on. Too much going on at other places. There was too much stuff going on in town, like Christmas parties and stuff. Because we primarily use a bar, you've got to get random dickheads coming in as well. And over the Christmas period, everybody's full of beer and that. I couldn't be bothered with the rigmarole of it all, so we didn't bother. So we've been on hiatus for like 2 months, really. So it was nice to get back to it. People seemed to enjoy themselves. We had a good laugh. We had a couple of drinks, and yeah, we really enjoyed it. So, like I say, Real Steel. If you've never watched Real Steel, my God, this is brilliant. It is truly brilliant. It's probably 40 minutes too long, because it's like nearly 2.5 hours. This, you know what I mean? It's definitely too long for the kind of film it is, but it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If you was to put in a melting pot Rocky 2 and the film Arena, the Empire film Arena, and Stallone's Over the Top, if you was to whack all those three sort of storylines into a big pot, blitz and melt it all together, this is what you would come up with, is Real Steel. Visually, looks great. Storyline is really good. Hugh Jackman in this plays the worst further figure role I think I've ever seen in a film. He's absolutely fucking awful to his son. right at the beginning of the film, in spoilers if you've not seen it, he fucking sells him for 70 grand. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? All the way through, he just sort of belittles him and ignores him, and it's like, it's crazy. But it's got the same little storyline as what Over the Top has, and a strange father and a strange son are thrown together. And that's where the story sort of goes. And then add into it a fighting robot league where Hugh Jackman fights massive robots instead of humans fighting. But could never sort of work out whether this was an alternative reality or was far enough in the future that stuff had changed a little bit. It's hard because it looks like the here and now, where you get like little tech things every so often, like the mobile phones using like transparent glass. Just little nods to think, well, is it in the future or is it sort of like a different parallel dimension? I don't know, but it is really, really good. Storyline's good, score's good, it looks amazing. So we bang that on. Now, normally we have a thing where a film can't be longer than 93 minutes long, just so we can get 2 films in the time slot that we've got, and we do a little bit in between the 2 films as well. But with this being a lot longer, we didn't do a raffle this month, and going forward, I don't think we're going to do a raffle again. It just gets harder and harder to find stuff to put in the raffle, and again we didn't have that many people turn up, so I'd have been out of pocket on the raffle anyway this month. So going forward, there is a plan in place to raise a little bit of money to so we can take out the raffles, so we don't have to do it anymore, which this like brilliantly. So taking the raffle out allows us to show longer films. It sort of helps, so that was good. So that was the longest, probably the newest film we've ever shown. I won't say it was a cult classic, but I think it'll get that status at some point, because it even though it looks good, predominantly it is a bit naff and cheesy. You know what I mean? It really is, but I think the way the story sort of pans out and the way it visually looks, it does make it a little bit better than what it actually is. But take that away from it, it is a good film. And then obviously, like as I said, there was no raffle this month, so we rolled straight into one of my favourite and probably the best that Empire Pictures did, Robot Jox. Brilliant little ROM, some brilliant stop motion animation in this for the kind of film this is. Budget was probably the biggest budget that Empire had ever worked with on this film, because it just looks phenomenal. Normally when you see stop motion animation in any kind of Full Moon or Empire Pictures, it always looked a bit ropey. This doesn't. This looks really, really good, and they sort of tie in the live action, the stop motion, and obviously what was like huge sort of puppets. It ties in brilliantly from shot to shot. It's pretty seamless that they use all 3 things in sort of like one scene in different shots, and it works brilliantly. This is a 2K restoration on the Blu-ray that came in that box set from the other year. We put this on the 4K player, and it looked amazing. It looked fantastic. Storyline's really good on this. Obviously, there's been the Third World War, and it was a nuclear war, and it's pretty much sort of like fuck shit up. So instead of territories that are left or countries that are left fighting each other in the traditional sense, they've made these giant mechs to do it. And pretty much it's America against Russia. That's the whole story all the way through it, and they're training new mech pilots and jocks, or robot jocks as they're called in these, to be the new fighting force. It's really good. It's really fun. Soundtrack's great. Acting's pretty good in it as well. Sets brilliant. Locations are brilliant. It looks really, really, really good. And like I say, it's probably the best film that Empire did. It's probably the biggest budget they ever had to work with, and you can massively tell. So when they had the tools to do the job turned out brilliantly. So if you've never seen Robot Jox, meaning go and check it out. It is real fun. And there was other films that we, you know what I mean, sort of toy with the idea of showing. There's another one that's from Robot Jox called Crash and Burn. Crash and Burn's not as good as Robot Jox, but it's in the exact same vein. Huge big mechs like this, and was done by Empire Pictures. We looked at Pacific Rim, but again, that's quite a long film, and I think people had seen it on a regular basis, so we give that one a miss. There isn't many in the whole sort of live action side of things when it comes to mech or giant robot films. If you went down the anime route, there's absolutely tons, but it's such a sort of specific genre is anime, and I don't claim to be sort of in the know when it comes to that kind of stuff. That we didn't do it. Dave probably knows more anime stuff than I do. You know what I mean? I could have gone with a film like Appleseed or something like that, and that would probably have worked. But we didn't. But it's a shame, really, that there's never been more in the live action sort of things when it comes to sort of giant robots or giant mechs or anything like that. You know what I mean? I probably could have done the new Power Rangers film. That may have worked with a big Power Zord or whatever the hell that thing is at the end of it. But no, so they were the two we showed. Like I say, it was a nice, fun little evening. If you ever want to come down to one of our events, it's genuinely the last Thursday of every month at Anderton Sports Bar in the centre of town in Wigan. You'd be more than welcome to come. Anybody can come. You know what I mean? There's no tickets. There's no seat allocation. It's a sports bar in the middle of town. We can get a drink. You can bring food in if you want. Pretty much we can do what we want in there. We show 2 films. We have a good laugh. And then we all go home again. It's really, really good. So if anybody's sort of local and you want to come and check us out, or you want to come and join us one night, you are more than welcome to. And like I say, why I've never done one of these videos before, just talking a little bit about what we do on the monthly events, on the monthly screenings, I'll never know. But till the next one, everybody, just remember, keep it cult.